What's up guys, Techmaster back with another video. So today we're going to be comparing the MacBook Air M2 and the MacBook Pro 14-inch M1 Pro or M2 Pro chip, or an M2 Max, but yeah. So first of all is the price. The MacBook Air M2 is $1,199 versus $1,999 for that one. Yeah. So it's comparing the differences. We have a 13.6-inch liquid retina display versus a 14.2-inch. We have the M2 chip versus the M2 Pro, M2 Max. The M2 Max is an absolute monster, and I'll go over that probably later. But yeah. So, for the specs, the M2 Air, we get a 8-core CPU compared to a 12-core CPU on the MacBook Pro 14-inch. Now, on the GPU, this is where it gets ridiculous. We have a 10-core GPU only on the MacBook Air M2 and a 38-core GPU on the M2 Max chip. And this is only for the M2 Max chip, the 38-core GPU. You can only get up to a 20-core GPU on the M2 Pro chip. But yeah, we'll go over that probably. But yeah. We get, oh yeah, this is where it gets even more, this is the most ridiculous. So we have up to 24 gigs of RAM on the MacBook Air M2 and 96 gigabytes of RAM on the MacBook Pro 14-inch or the MacBook Pro 16-inch, the M2 Max chip. Well, actually, the 14-inch can get the M2 Max too, but yeah. And we get the battery life is the same, 18 hours, and then the internal storage is up to 8 terabytes, so 4 times more storage. We get Touch ID stuff, and then we have twice the memory bandwidth on the M2 Pro and M2 Max chips and stuff. We have the M2 Max is 400 gigabytes of memory bandwidth per second compared to only 100 on the M2 Air. And then, so again, we got up to a 20-core GPU versus a 38-core GPU on the MacBook or the M2 Max chip, and then all that stuff. And then only the 38-core GPU MacBook Pro can get the 96 gigabytes of RAM, which is insane. Like, look, I don't think you need that much RAM. I think it's ridiculous, but yeah. Yeah, but that thing is insane. I mean, seriously. Then we got the height. It's pretty much the same thing. We have, actually, no, the front camera is the same because this has a 1080p camera. The other older looking design MacBook Pros have a 720p camera, which is absolutely garbage, and you can barely see anything. That is when I actually used that camera when I recorded the iPhone 12 portrait test. When that camera's dog water, so yeah. But I'm just saying, like, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty cool. We get Wi-Fi 6E on the MacBook Pro and Bluetooth 5.3 compared to Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5 on the MacBook Air. Then we have 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports compared to just regular Thunderbolt on there. We have, and the best part about these MacBook Pros, even the M1 Pro and M1 Max, they have SD card slots. That's like a miracle because like that they returned that design, which is awesome. All this stuff, Siri, power and battery, all that stuff. The MacBook Air actually has more wireless web browsing, and I think it actually would get better battery life. It has a smaller battery, of course, but different watt hour. It's a 52 watt hour instead of a 70 watt hour, but yeah, anyway, that's pretty much that. And yeah, so that pretty much compares that. Obviously, I didn't really compare a bunch of other computers, but to be honest, I think it's completely worth spending the extra money on the MacBook Pro 14-inch, to be completely honest, because for what you get, like the M2 Air is barely a minor upgrade from the M1 chip, and it's more expensive. I think the Air is a great buy if you just want like a good computer that can do what you need, but for like heavy intensive stuff, like if you compare the specs and everything, and the amount you get more with the MacBook Pro, it's definitely worth it. Plus, it's also bigger. Some people may prefer that. And it actually has a smaller display. It may be hard to tell, but like, look. If you kind of like, I can't zoom in, but like, you can see the bezels are slimmer on the MacBook Pro too. Kind of like the iPad Pro compared to the Air. Like the Air would have the thicker bezels, for example. That's kind of related to like the iPad because the iPad Air has a thicker bezel than the Pro. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, basically, the sum up this whole video is like the Air is not a bad value, but it's not the greatest value because like it's a little overpriced for what you're getting. But yeah, the one thing I do like is that the midnight, there's like better colors. Like I like them. I love the color midnight. I think that's probably the best color on the Mac so far. It's like a bluish black color. Midnight's a really cool color compared to like the classic shitty space gray and silver. Like nobody really wants that. Oh, and you also get starlight too. Anyway, that's off topic. But yeah. Anyway, guys, see you guys later.